everybody and welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Sheena and makeup is like therapy for me. Today we're going to go through all of my ColourPop palettes, see what I have, see if there's anything that I want to get rid of, and just make sure I'm getting the most out of my collection. So we're going to start out with my bigger palettes, not my 9 pans, not my 4 pans, not my 5 pans, but like my megas and like my 15 and 20 something pans. So let's start out with those. The first one I have up is the Disney Hocus Pocus Gather Round Sisters. I have used this palette several times. It is really pretty. I do really enjoy it. I have bad memories associated with this palette. So as much as I do like it, I'm gonna declutter it. Figure out where to put my decluttered stuff. Next, I have the Disney Villains Misunderstood palette. I haven't used this palette a ton. It's just really pretty. It has a gorgeous color story. I picked this palette up at the recommendation of Andrea. I cannot think of her last name. It starts with the M. But I do really enjoy this palette and I need to just use it more. Okay, next I have the ColourPop Control Alt Glam palette. And I really like this palette. It is really pretty. I like the purple color story. It's just gorgeous. I need to just get it out and use it some more. Okay, now this was my first ever ColourPop palette. It is the ColourPop Garden Variety palette. I really like this palette, and you know, like I said, it's just one of those I need to get it out and use it more, which is why I'm doing this video, so then I can, you know, be reminded of what all I have with ColourPop. So I'm gonna hang on to that one. Next, I have ColourPop Troublemaker, and I do really like this color story. It is very pretty, and yeah, so I'm gonna hang on to this palette. My dogs are growling. Long story short, my daughter has cats. I have dogs. The cats have never been around the dogs. We're working on intertwining them, and it's interesting. Next, I have the ColourPop and Limoncello palette. And as you can see, I have never used this palette. It is a really pretty color story, but I think I'm going, oh no, I have used it a couple of times, but I think I'm gonna pass it on to somebody else because it's just not really my color story. It's a little too neutral leaning for me. Okay, next I have the Disney Midnight Masquerade, and I haven't used this one that much. I kind of forget about it. I think I bought this one also at the recommendation of Andrea, and it is really pretty. I'm gonna hold on to it and hopefully use it some more. All right, I have the ColourPop Winx Club palette, and this is a really pretty curated rainbow palette. I really like this palette a lot, and it will not be going anywhere. Okay, next I have the ColourPop Hocus Pocus 2 palette, and I really enjoy this color story. I like to use it a lot in the month of October, and it will not be going anywhere either. Next I have the Barbie in ColourPop, and I really like this color story a lot. Hot pink is one of my favorite colors. You can see from my eyeshadow today that I do love some pink, so that palette will not be going anywhere either. Next I have the ColourPop Let's Roll palette, and I was trying to remember if this was a good formula or not. I feel like it's one that like I need to hang on to and try again because I can't really remember. Okay, now we're gonna get into my mega palettes. This is ColourPop Fade into Hue, and I've never used this rainbow palette. It is so pretty, and I hate that I've never used it. It needs to be on my list of palettes to use, and I need to use this palette. So I think I'm gonna put it to the side and and put it in a separate basket to use again. Okay, this is the Kathleen Lights and ColourPop So Jaded palette, and this is another palette that I need to use that I just haven't used. I really like it. I really like the colors. So I'm going to put this one to the side, and I'm going to put it in a basket to use more. This is the ColourPop Stone Cold Fox palette. And when I want a neutral palette, this is where I go. These are my kind of neutrals. I really like this palette. It works great whenever I need a neutral, so it's not going anywhere. My last mega palette, I don't even remember buying this palette. How sad is that? But it is the It's All Good palette, and it has been used, but just not enough. It's only barely been used. So I'm going to put it to the side with the other palettes, and I'm going to use it. Okay, next we are going to go through my 5-pan palettes. And I was trying to decide if I needed to open these, how I wanted to handle them. This is ColourPop Melt For You. And yeah, I think they need to be opened, even though it's got the glass clear. I think they still need to be opened. And I really like this color story. This is like my kind of neutrals, just kind of the mauve-y shades. So I'm definitely going to hang on to this palette. Next is Digital Playground, and I bought this palette and never used it. It is super, super pretty. I'm going to set it over here to the side, and it's going to go in my basket of palettes to use. Okay, next is ColourPop 143. This was one of their Valentine's collections one year, and I really like this color story. Again, it's pink. I love it. It's not going anywhere. Okay, next I have the ColourPop New Millennium, and this is a very pretty purple color story. I need to use this palette, so I'm going to put this palette in my basket of palettes to use. I mean, that's why I'm doing this video, to be honest. Okay, this is Just a Glitch, and this is another one of those palettes. I bought it and I never used it, so I'm going to set it to the side, put it in a basket, and use it. Okay, this is ColourPop SWAK. Okay, I think I'm getting a little old, guys, because I'm not sure what that stands for. I probably would have to ask one of my teenagers. But this is a very pretty red palette. I really like it. It's super pretty, and I'm not going to get rid of it. I kind of love them. I kind of love my ColourPop palettes. Okay, this is ColourPop Rumor Has It. And this is also like my other ones that I've never used. So I'm going to put it to the side and I'm going to use it. Now, I have one more palette that is the same size as those. I actually have it pulled right now for something. But it is ColourPop and Too Haughty. I love this palette. It is super, super pretty, and it's not going anywhere. Okay, let's look at my quads. These, I may declutter some. So this is ColourPop Waffle Cone. It is really pretty, but it's just not really my color story, so I'm gonna declutter it. This is Dreamsicle, and it's really pretty, but it's never been used, and I have these colors in other ColourPop palettes, so I'm just going to declutter it. This is ColourPop Set on Sapphire, and this one is really pretty. I have never used it, and I'm going to keep it. So I'm going to put it in my basket of palettes that need to be used. Okay, this is ColourPop Sunday Fun Day. And this is another one of those palettes that I have never used. So I'm going to set it to the side and we're going to use it. This is an Emerald Away. And this is another ColourPop palette, super pretty, but I've never used it, so I'm gonna declutter it. Okay, this is Rainbow Sprinkles. This was the ColourPop quad that has pressed glitters in it, and I do enjoy pressed glitters, but I have plenty of them in other palettes, so I'm gonna declutter it. Okay, these next 8, I hate to say, I've never used it. They are all collabs. I don't think I'm gonna get rid of any of them, and I'll probably put them in that basket to use. So this is Hello Kitty Cherry Sweet, and this is so pretty. I really like those colors, so I'm gonna set that one to the side to use. Actually, I think I'm gonna put all 8 of these in the basket to use. This one is Pineapple Cake, and I think it is really pretty, so I am going to put it in my basket of palettes that I need to use. Again, Cocoa Cutie, and I know it has a similar color story, but I really bought it because it was Hello Kitty, and I got it for a super good deal. So I'm gonna hang on to it and put it in my basket of palettes to try out or to use. Okay, this is Teeny Keeny, and I know, again, same thing, but it's not going anywhere. It's pretty. Okay, next are the 4 Animal Crossing ones. This one is What a Hoot. If I was to get rid of any of these, they would go to my daughter, but they are not going anywhere. This is Label of the Ball. I absolutely love Animal Crossing. I was so excited for that collab. This is Nook Ink. I was a little disappointed in it, but I'm not getting rid of my palettes from it because I do absolutely love them. And this one is 5 Star Island. I have used it, but I think I'm gonna put it in my basket because I put the other ones in there, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, let me get my other basket and we'll be right back to keep filming. Okay, I think all of these are 9 pans and 12 pans. So we're gonna start out with my plastic ones. I know a lot of people don't like these. I love them. I think they're super cute. And this is Oh La La. This is actually what I have on my eyes today. And I just think it's gorgeous. I love it. Okay, this is Going Coconuts. And I have used it a couple of times, but I don't ever reach for it. It's not my color story. I literally got it so that I could have all of the plastic ones, and I don't need it, so I'm gonna declutter it. Okay, this one is Meant to Be, and I've never used it, but I'm not gonna get rid of it because it is a color story that I did really want. Okay, this is In a Trance, and I might do like go through all my 9 pans and do a look with them. I think that might be fun. This is Aurora and Out, and it is super pretty. I do have several 9 pans that I've never used before, so I think one of my goals is going to be to use all of them. This one is Wine and Only. It is like my favorite ColourPop palette. I use it so much in the fall. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. Okay, this one is Main Squeeze. I don't use it that much, but I don't want to get rid of it. Okay, this one is Blow and Smoke. I use this one whenever I need a black or a white for a look. I will grab this palette and it never lets me down. This one is Or Kid You Not, and I don't think I have used it. I think I've only used this palette like once, but it's so pretty and I don't want to get rid of it. I love it. Okay, this is Miss Bliss, and this is another color story that I really like, so I'm gonna hang on to it. This is Orange You Glad, and I think I'm gonna get rid of this one. I've never used it, I don't wear orange that often, and I have it in plenty of other palettes, so I'm going to declutter that one. This one is Mar. I actually bought it on Poshmark because it was no longer on the ColourPop site, and one of the shadows came in shattered. I've never used it because of that shadow being shattered. I don't think I'm ever gonna use it because of that, and because it is pretty old, I'm going to declutter it. Okay, this is Blue Moon, and I am not going to get rid of it. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. This is Honey, and I have used this palette several times, and it is always really pretty, so I'm gonna be hanging on to it. This one is It's My Pleasure, and I think it is super pretty. I really like it a lot. Again, it's one that needs to be used. This one is Going Coconuts, and I have never used it. It is neutrals. It's not my color story, so I am going to declutter it. This one is Wild Child. It's not my color story, and I don't think I've ever used it, but it is so pretty. Like so pretty. So I think I'm gonna hang on to it for right now, and then later on I may declutter it. This one is Just My Luck, and I think this color story is so pretty. I'm going to hang on to it. It is not going anywhere right now. This one is Shell Shocked, and I think I was a little disappointed in this color story. It didn't have the payoff that I was hoping for. So I'm gonna declutter it because I don't see that I'm gonna reach for it. Okay, now we're gonna get into my 9 pans that are in the cardboard. This one is by the Rosé. I've used it a couple of times. I bought it earlier this year when I was at the beach and forgot all my makeup at home, so I'm not gonna get rid of it. This is That's Taupe, and again, it's a neutral palette. I don't reach for it, so I'm gonna declutter it. High Tide, and I really like this palette. I think it is super pretty. It's gonna go in with my 9 pans of, I'm gonna do a ColourPop 9 pan, like just lots of videos. This one is Blush Crush. This is my kind of neutral colors. I have these colors so many times over, but I absolutely love them, and I'm always so drawn to the palettes that look like this, so I'm gonna keep that one. This one is Secret Admirer, and I really like this palette. I think it is super pretty, so I'm gonna hang on to it. Oh, this is the palette that I was not very good at pronouncing. Baroque? I'm not sure. It is a super pretty grungy palette, really pretty dark blues. I've never used it. I doubt I will use it, so I'm gonna go ahead and declutter it. Okay, the next one is Nude Mood, and I'm going to declutter this one as well. It's just not my color story. Next one is Frozen 2, and this one will not be going anywhere. I will be keeping it. I love that palette. That's the Anna palette, and this is the Frozen 2 Elsa palette, and these were some of my first ColourPop palettes, and I've always really enjoyed them. I think they are super pretty. I've debated on decluttering these next 3 palettes. I have a really hard time with it because there's my Star Wars palettes, but I'm not really big into Star Wars, so I think I am. This first one is Darth Vader, and I think it is super pretty. I've used it a couple of times, but I mean, it's just not my color story and I don't use it, so I'm going to declutter it. Next is The Mandalorian, and I don't know if I have ever used this one. I bought it because I think that center shade is a duochrome, and I was really intrigued by that, but I think I'm just going to declutter it. This one is the Child palette, and I'm not sure if I have used it or not, but I'm not huge on greens. Greens just aren't my color story, even though they always look really good with my eyes. So I'm gonna go ahead and declutter it. Okay, now this is a green palette that I will not be decluttering, and that is the Tinkerbell palette. If I'm going to wear greens, these are the greens that I'm going to wear. Okay, now we are getting into my 12 pan palettes, and this is Hocus Pocus Witching Hour. I used this palette last year, but I did not love it, so I'm going to go ahead and declutter it. This is my all-time favorite ColourPop palette, and that's Mint Samuha. And whenever I want, like, this is my go-to palette when I'm going out with my husband. It's rose golds are my colors, so I always grab that one. This one has my singles in it that I bought when they were on a really good sale, and I just don't use singles, so I'm gonna declutter it. Next is Cahaba Club, and it's really pretty. I think I'm gonna hang on to this one, and it's going to go into my basket of palettes that I'm going to use. Next one is Lush Life, and I'm gonna hang on to it as well, and it's gonna go into my basket of palettes to use. Next is All That, and I bought this because I thought it was a really pretty Valentine's one. I got it a couple years later, not the original one, and yeah, I really like it. So I'm gonna put it into my basket of palettes that I need to use. Okay, next is Raw Beauty Christie at Foresight, and I've used this palette a good many times, but it is so pretty. I need to use it. I love those mattes. Like, those mattes would look so great with some of my Adept shadows, so I really need to use that palette. Next is Bye Bye Birdie, and this is a palette that I have actually used a good bit. I really enjoy this palette, so I'm not going to put it in my basket of palettes to use because I've used it. Next is Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. This palette is very well used, well loved, and I'm gonna hang on to it. I really like it. I use it a lot during Halloween, so I'm gonna keep it. Next is the Whatever palette, and I don't know, it just doesn't grab me, so I think I'm actually gonna declutter this one and just see, you know, if I could have a little bit less, because I am working on reducing my makeup to go from a 3,000 square foot home into a 400 square foot motorhome. So give me just a moment. I'm going to get some of my palettes organized, and I'll come back with the numbers to tell you how many I kept, how many I decluttered, and how many are going to be used again. Okay, so I decluttered 20. I kept 59, and then in the basket that I need to use, I put 21 of those 59, and then I have 29 pan palettes that I want to create videos on all of them. So 41 of my 59. And I have a basket of new makeup that I need to use, and one of the things in there is a ColourPop palette, so that one will also go in there. But not bad. I did declutter 20. I knew I wasn't going to declutter much. I love my ColourPop palettes, and whenever I need a color, they are usually always what I reach for, so I just wasn't going to get rid of a ton of my ColourPop palettes. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell beside it so you don't miss any of my future uploads. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye, guys.